So, welcome, friends. We're with a wonderful group here with people from England, Germany next week. South Africa should be here. She's not here. That's Nicole. And we have Taiwan and Australia. It's really, really great. Um, well, some of you might know some of Sanskrit, some might not. But I think I made lessons for everyone. We start with the beginning. Um, I focus on recognizability. So then we can recognize words. So we work with the words of Vedanta and the words of the scripture. So many words, especially in the first lesson, I think you will know. And that's kind of nice because then we can get used to the Sanskrit language by a familiar way, actually. Um, Well, and I want to invite you to follow everything in a relaxed manner because that's the best learning. If we're relaxed, also with memorizing, don't try to memorize everything immediately. We doesn't need to. But if that's your style, it's also great. No problem. I always will repeat a lot. Another thing is I'm always open for questions. So if I'm in my teaching in the lesson, you can unmute yourself and do the contribution, the question. We can have a little chat and you mute yourself again. That's how it works, of course. Um, Same way, if we're going to work with the pronunciation a lot. So you're all muted, but I do it a kind of way that you will come practice for yourself at home. We'll see how that works out. I don't want to take a break. We only have an hour. But if one really has to go to the toilet or something, please tell me. We can take a little pause if needed, and we'll see how it works out. Okay? So the classes are designed to be finished. So I have a lesson for every time, a complete lesson. So if we run a bit over time, especially this first time, sorry for that. I also have to test a little bit what fits in one lesson. Today we open with the Pavamana mantra, Asatoma Satgamaya. I don't know if you have it with you. Um, so let's go to that. Om Asatoma Satgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Okay, let's go to the sheet like this. So here we are. Can you all see this? I guess so. Huh? Okay,
Yes.
lesson one, the truth of myself. We come to that, but because there's kind of a complete Vedanta teaching in this lesson by which we're going to explore linguistic aspects. But let's start with the beginning. And the beginning of language, of course, is the A, the A. Every alphabet starts, or many alphabets start with the A. Hebrew, I think Aleph, Arabic Aleph, our own alphabet. But also babies start with this little ah sounds. It's very natural. That's why it's always ah. This ah plays a special role. We see that later also with the combination with a consonant. So here we have the three basic vowels. A, I, U. You can say it for yourself. A, I, U. A is said, I say around A. Sometimes Hindi speakers say a bit more like a. It's both okay, as long as we're consequent. Um, so here we have the I. I is pronounced I, not really E. It should be I. And also with the long I. And here we have the U. It's not a U. It's not a U like we say in Dutch. It's a U. The U is actually at the front of your mouth. It's a labial sound, a lip sound. U, U. So if we do A, I, U, you feel in your mouth your energy is going to the front from your throat. A is in the back, E is in the middle, U is at your lips. Every vowel, every letter has a special position in the mouth. We come to that later too. So prolonged vowels are twice as long, and they're really separate letters in the alphabet. A, I, U. A, E, U. And then we have four more prolonged vowels. E, O, I, O. These double vowels, as I call them, are specific letters in the alphabet. So I would say these are two letters. No, in Sanskrit, I is one vowel. Au is also a vowel, but a vowel with a special status because they're twice as long, and they're called double vowels. Okay, all these kind of things will be repeated over and over again. There are some more vowels which we come to next time, I think. Um, just like I just said, letters are always pronounced the same way in Sanskrit. And that makes it, well, easy, consequent. That's why it's also called Sanskrita in Sanskrit, and which means something like perfectly made. Let's see. Okay, here we have another pronunciation rule. In a word, we put the accent on a long or double vowel. So we see that. We will see that, how it works. Because now we're going to pronounce advaita-vedanta in a proper way. I don't usually people in the West especially say something like Vedanta, Vedanta. But let's look at the word Advaita first. We see here the double vowel that makes, and therefore we have to stress this part, like Advaita, Advaita. Another thing is when two consonants come together, it's really good to pronounce them very precise. Actually, one should say Advaita, 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 Advaita. And of course, Dvaita's duality, the A turns the meaning around and makes it Advaita, Advaita. So here we have Veda, Veda. It means knowledge or knowing. Veda. Anta, Anta means end. Together, Vedanta means the knowledge that is the end of knowledge. So we pronounce it Vedanta. I guess you're practicing at home with me. Vedanta. Together, we come to Advaita Vedanta. Advaita-vedanta. Okay. The V is pronounced softly, gently, something between a V and a W. That's why we say Vedanta. In Holland, we have a quite strong V. We say Vedanta. But I think English speakers have a quite soft V from themselves. Ve- Vedanta. Another way about vowels is that the E, we call it a strengthened form of the I. And the A, the A, is a reinforced form of A. We will see later why. Okay, what do we have here? Here's a seed. And when we talk about reality, and especially when we talk about manifestation, actually seeds of meaning are planted, placed in the reality, by which finally objects manifest. If they're apparent or not, that doesn't matter now. We use this metaphor. The seed manifests to a full tree. Oh, wonder. So, like that, also in language, there are root forms of the language, of the living language. And these root forms are called dhatu. Dhatu. This consonant here we pronounce as following. If you say a D, a D, a D, a D, in Sanskrit you say da, but when there's an H here, together with the da, it's one letter, we let it explode a little bit. We're going to aspire. It's a da, a da. Here with a long A, it says da, dhatu, dhatu. So a dhatu is a seed form of language. And it's placed in reality. So here we have, this is a dhatu. And what is this? This is the dhatu, the seed form of the word dhatu itself. It means to place. You see? So what does placing means in this case? It's bringing meaning into reality. And now I started philosophizing a little bit. Language is a means of expressing misunderstandings or knowledge, I said. So ignorance or knowingness. Language divides, that's ignorance, or it heals, that's knowledge. It's nice, eh? So Vedanta is a means of knowledge consisting of words. Vedanta is a correct, healing word mirror of myself. It allows me to see myself as wholeness. And Sanskrita, is the language in which this complete means of knowledge for freedom of the self is formulated. Beautiful. We can work with that. We're going to play with that. Of course, learning Sanskrit is not the goal here. And putting as much as language in our minds is also not the goal. It's a means as it needs to accommodate our self-inquiry. That's what it does. Another nice feature and famous feature of Sanskrit. It's called Sandhi. Sandhi. What is Sandhi? Two sounds come together. Sun comes from some. Actually, this is Sandhi. This is already Sandhi, but it's a bit complex Sandhi. Uh, Two sounds come together, some, and a sound change occurs, which in every language occurs. Sound change is always happening when two words bump into each other. For example, in English, if we say input, 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 you say it faster and faster, you get input, input, input. If we say 10 bikes, 10 bikes, 10 bikes, somehow the N becomes a B. And that is because this N assimilates to the B. The B is a sound which you make with your lips. The N is a sound you make with the tongue behind the teeth. But if they come together, the N starts becoming an M, which is also lips because of the B. 10 bikes, 10 bikes. It's a natural thing which happens in language. Another kind of sandhi is in English. It's go on, go on, go on. But if we say it quicker, faster, we get something like go on, go on. This is a kind of W coming in there. We can call it a glide in a linguistic way. Another thing is leaving out letters. For example, next day, if we say it properly, next day. But if we say it faster, it starts manifesting as next day, next day, next day, next day. Same thing as water, water. When we say it quickly, water, water, water. There's almost no R or any left there. If you have questions, please interfere. I think the Americans take it even further. If they say butter, butter, they make something like butter, butter out of it, or city, 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 city. It's all kind of it's all kinds of way of sound change. But what happens in Sanskrit, sandhi, the sound change also produces a change in the words themselves. So we really start writing them differently. So there's a change in the script. It's according to rules. And well, we don't like rules, but these rules are very natural because they're very logical. And we'll see now how it works with an example. Sandhi is a phenomena unique to Sanskrit. The most general and easy Sandhi rule is when A sounds, A vowels, long or short, come together, they make a long A. We know that from the word vedanta. You see, Veda plus anta makes Vedanta. Actually, it's two words. Same with Maha, big or great. Atma, big or great spirit. Atma means spirit here, which becomes a Mahatma. Mahatma, a great spirit or a big mind. You see how it works? One remark about Atma. You might know the word for self as Atman. Atman is a stem form of the language of Sanskrit. In this case, Atma is in the first case, the first grammatical case. And then it becomes this form. Another thing, of course, is a nice example of language, especially Sanskrit. We know Atman as the absolute the absolute truth of myself, Atman, consciousness. But in this way, Atma is meant like the self of the individual, the not true self. So you see this word Atma, you can use in two ways. And you see it in scripture also in different ways. But of course, we know what is the real meaning. So we have superficial ways of using words. and more deeper implied ways of using words. Okay. I or I sounds, I vowels, if they come together, they form a long I. I made iti. Iti means thus. Iti Ishvara becomes Itishvara, which means thus Ishvara. Nice, eh? And same thing with U sounds. U plus U becomes a long U. Oh, it should be, let me see, this is still in Dutch. A long U. So we have Guru plus, for example, Upadesha, which means lesson or teaching. Guru plus Upadesha becomes Guru Padesha. Guru Padesha, which means the lesson of the teacher. You might know this word Upadesha from Upadesha Sahasri, for example, which is a text by Shankara, Thousand Teachings, or Upadesha Sara, which is a text from Ramana Maharshi. So it's a word you see more often, Upadesha. Guru plus Upadesha becomes after Sandhi, Guru Padesha. It's easy. Okay. Another thing which you might have well noticed by now, Sanskrit doesn't have capitals, no capital letters in Sanskrit, which makes it also easy. It's easy, Sanskrit. Okay, so now we come to the truth of myself, and we're gonna build up a little teaching, although an important teaching. And every teaching, or this teaching, should begin with Ishvara. Ishvara. Ishvara has a dhatu, a root or a seed form, which is Ish. Ish means to rule, to own, to regulate, to control, to allow, to be all-powerful. And therefore we get the word Isha, which is a word for the Lord, that which rules everything, that which regulates everything. And the Upanishad, Isha Upanishad, is named after that. Vara means boon, blessing, boon, together. Ishvara is literally means the blessed Lord, or the Lord who is a blessing. Beautiful. So if Ishvara is the controller and the regulator and the giver of all things, how can we define that? Well, another definition of Ishvara is, I guess you know, Saguna Brahma. Saguna Brahma. Saguna Brahma. First, maybe a bit about pronunciation of this word Brahma. The two parts here. We stress the first part, in this case, and we make a little separation for a proper pronunciation. That's why we say Brahma, Brahma, with a little bit of air. Sometimes it becomes a little G in your throat, but we pronounce this like Brahma. This is Saguna Brahma together. And what does it mean? Brahma is the first case of the word Brahman. Brahman is pure existence, consciousness, bliss, of course. So then we have Sa. Sa is with. Guna is property, quality. So it's pure existence, consciousness with properties, qualities. As we know, we would say like in a better way, it's pure existence, consciousness with apparent properties or qualities, but it doesn't matter here now so much. So that's the Guna Brahma. So if Ishvara is all qualities, all properties, all objects, what can we say about ourselves? Therefore, we refer to the great statement, a Mahavakya. A Mahavakya. Maha means big. Vakya is a statement, a saying. I am Brahman. I am Brahman. Which is in Sanskrit, Aham Brahmasmi. Aham Brahmasmi. There are three words here, and it's from the Bhadaranyaka Upanishad. So let's see to this beautiful little phrase here. Aham is I. Asmi is I am. Asmi comes from the dhatu, the root, the seed from as, which means being. And as is a way of expressing being in the most abstract, absolute way. There are also other words for being in Sanskrit, but it's usually more like something like becoming something or being something. With us, you don't become or am something, you just are. That's actually the deepest meaning of us being. So with us comes the suffix me in this in the first person here. I am asmi. Asmi. And Brahma, it doesn't say Brahman. It says Brahma because it's also in the first case. Together again, I am Brahman. What more to say? Well, in Vedanta, we say, well, okay, well, how do I realize that? How? Therefore, we need some sadhana, no? How do I surrender my individual? What is a good practice? Sadhana. Again, this is an aspired sound. Sadhana. Sadhana. There's a D, and we let it explode a little bit with a little air. We keep onto the D a little bit and then let it explode almost. Sadhana. Sadhana. What is our sadhana? Mentally or cognitive, returning all qualities and properties to where they belong, they belong to Ishvara. That's why I can be free of the qualities and properties, you know? And I do that by offering or surrendering or giving back all my actions to the altar of Ishvara by karma yoga. Karma yoga. I also stress this first part because when two consonants are together, actually, it's also a way why you should put an accent on this first syllable. Karma yoga. Giving everything back in meditation, of course, is another way. It's seeing Ishvara as everything, seeing Ishvara as all power, all knowledge. You do that in Upasana yoga. Upasana yoga. It's ways of understanding the nuance of Ishvara and of myself. So, And so now we can, in a Vedanta teaching, in a good Vedanta teaching, there's always some negation, no? This look like a canceled person. Well, maybe we're going to cancel a little bit. uh, what's there to cancel? Well, I can negate now my individual aham na guruhu. For as far as I'm a guru, as Simon, for now, just a little role. I can say aham na guru. Aham, am not na, the teacher, guru. Guru is in a stem form. Guruhu comes in a first case form. This is a new letter. It's a Visarga. It's a famous letter. I think we're gonna uh, get there in the next lesson. But in this little phrase, we're helps us to get used to it a little bit. Aham na guruhu. I'm not a teacher. Another thing is here, what you see here, uh, it says here, I am. But in Sanskrit, there is no I am in this little phrase here. So the verb to be is often left out in Sanskrit. Sanskrit is a language which is very concise and very consequent and efficient also. So that's why, for example, if you say, I not guru, it's a sufficient way of saying, I am not the guru. So here we are. Before now, we're going to negate the student. Let's do some pronunciation. There are three S's, S sounds in Sanskrit: sha, sha, and sa. Sha, sha, and sa. So let's see, what does it mean? Oh, what's this? This is, we're not the dentist here. This is an image of our speak organ. And what we see here is there are different phases, different places, different positions by which sounds is being uttered, by which sounds can be placed. We go from the rear side to the front. This is here our throat sounds are expressed here. For example, ah. Ah is a throat sound. Ka also. Ah and ka in the rear side of your mouth. Orange here is the soft palate. This area, soft palate. And this sound, the first S is pronounced here. You do that by putting the surface of the bit of the rear side of your tongue to your soft palate. It stays a little bit open, and then you say something like sha, sha. This should be pronounced like sha. Next, this letter is an S with a little dot. These are these famous Indian sounds. They're called retroflexes. Retroflexes. They're all having a dot under it in our script, and they're pronounced over here. This is the hard palate. It's a bit of the ridge behind your teeth. What you do is you put the tip of your tongue a bit in front of your mouth. Don't close it totally, and then you put it back while you utter the sound sha, 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 sha. So now we have sha and sha. Next is the sa, which is a normal way of expressing S for us, I think. It's a teeth sound, a dental, tooth sound. It's expressed by putting your tongue behind your teeth, at the back of your teeth, and just say in a sharp way, real clear, sa, sa. And blue are labials. It's lip sounds. So now here we have three S sounds. Sha, sha, sa. Let's see. Ahamna shishaha. Ahamna shishaha. I, aham, na, not. Shishaha. I am not the student. She, shisha, student. Shisha, student in the first case. Well, now we negated everything. We can negate another aspect of reality, which is like the doer. No? The doer, karter, comes from the dhatu kur. It's a famous dhatu also. It means to do or to make. Kur. Well-known Vedanta word is derived from, or these are well-known Vedanta words which are derived, sorry, from kur. Karma, it's action or result of action. Samskara, all impressions, conditioning. Karana, karana, the cause. Karya, effect. Sanskrita, Sanskrit itself, literally meaning made perfect. And karter, 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 which is a tongue breaker, I guess, means doer. This is the stem for doer. It should say, it says rule, it should more be stem here. Let's see. I am not the doer. How do we say that? Aham na karta. I see what happens here. There's a dot under here. That's actually the correct way to say it, but keep it easy now and make aham na karta. I, aham, am not the doer. Karta. Karta is the first case of the stem doer. Karter. This retroflex R is actually a vowel. We come to that in the next lesson. I'm not a doer. Okay, let's conclude and do a little repetition of this, which is called abhyasa. I put it here because it's nice practice for pronunciation. Abhyasa with an S pirate B. Abhyasa. Abhyasa. Ishvara, the blessed Lord, apparently rules everything. Oh, glory. Oh, hail. Because Ishvara is Saguna Brahma, Brahman with all apparent qualities and all actions. I am Brahman, Aham Brahmasmi, free from all qualities, and I'm not the doer, Aham Nakarta. And because Ishvara is all qualities, I am, O grace, free as consciousness. Aham Brahmasmi. Okay. Now we go to the script of Sanskrit, which is called Devanagari. You can pronounce it at home. Devanagari, which means literally city of gods. Well, I'm going to tell a little story now. In the ancient times, people were gatherers and hunters. And people were devout to all the phenomena they saw in nature and around them. So they were devoted to the gods of the trees, the sun, the moon. And in the Vedas, you see that because deities, devas, deities in the Vedas, usually the sun, the moon, but also the elements like fire, Agni, water, Appa, etc. Which is really beautiful because then it's the same way of look at seeing everything as Ishvara, no? All as devas are all aspects of Ishvara. Same way with the Sanskrit alphabet. If you see here, um, we can see all letters as devas. We can be devoted to all letters as devas. And together the devas are in a city, the complete alphabet. In script, that is called Devanagari. Which I think it's a beautiful metaphor. No questions up to now, so I assume everyone is following the lesson. Okay, now what you can do is get your paper and pen. I'm gonna go to a whiteboard. We're gonna do some writing and learn some letters. It's really nice. So here, if you're ready, first word is bala. Bala, strong. I put bala on the mantra sheet, if you remember, because bala expresses also a way of pronouncing mantras in a really self-assured, confident way. Bala. So if we speak Sanskrit, we we practice to do it in a really self-assured way, which makes it really the meaning really close. So we have bala. So how do we write bala, which means strong? First, we make a little oval in a bit horizontal way on its side. It's like a bit like this. Then we put a diagonal like this through it. This looks a bit like a stop sign. Huh? And then we make a vertical. Almost every consonant has this vertical, not all of them. Here it says ba. Why don't I say b, just b? Because if we write a consonant in Sanskrit, the a is always assumed there because that's why it's called a consonant. It's there's always some sound with it, and that's actually the a. So here it says ba. So we don't write the short a. And now we're going to do the L. The L starts here at this position. We make a rounding like this. And we make a rounding like this. And then a vertical. Again, it says la here, not l, la. And every Sanskrit word is ended with a long horizontal on top. That's why it binds the letters together. Actually, I call this it's not official, but I call this line a non-dual line because it makes every word, every script one. So here it says bala, bala. Okay, next word. Bala, bala. Only a little change. The a became a long a, but there's a great change in meaning now. Bala means child, boy. Bala Ganesha, you might know. or it means young. So how are we going to do this? First, we start with the ba. Same thing. We make a little rounding here. Not completely round, but it's, and then a diagonal like this. Here we have the vertical. Now it says ba, ba, but we want ba. So what happens? Well, the long A is a specific sign in the word, and it's just a vertical. This is ah. That's easy, no? Then we have the L again. Start here, this position, the rounding. Another rounding like this. It's a bit of a 3 the other way around. And a vertical combined with a horizontal. Here it says bhala. Okay, let's see. Next. Ah, kama, desire. Famous word, I guess you know it. Kama, desire. We have the K. It's a little round. It's a little round. And then we make an eternity sign, but we stop it here. And a vertical. This is the ka. Ka. Uh, Again, we have here a long A. It's a vertical. And now a new letter, ma. Ma. Sorry if the lines are not that straight, but I'm writing here with my finger on the mouse tab. So, okay, the ma, the M. Start with a half a vertical stripe up to here. Then we go a bit to the left, up, and we take it to the right, like this. I hope that worked out. And then a vertical like this. This is the M. Combine it with the horizontal. Here it says kama, kama, desire. Okay, next one. It's nice practicing a little bit, no? I love to write Sanskrit letters, like calligraphing. I hope that's a good English. And Chia-Ling also likes calligraphing, I noticed. What do we have here? Aham, aham, I. Here is a new thing. Here we see the in front of the word. Now we express the in its full glory. And that's a form we also know from the Aum sign. We make a rounding like this and a rounding like this. Here you can make a little horizontal, but I prefer much typographies. You see more like a more little diagonal here. And here we have the vertical. Here it says ah. Now the H, ah, which is expired quite strong. Ah. We make a little vertical here, not too long. Go to the left. And little vertical down. A little staircase to the left. We put position here. And then we go like, whoops, like this. This is the ha. And the M again. Here we go again. Half a vertical. Bring it a bit here. Go to the right. And the vertical. Aham. Okay. Does it say aham here? Based on what I explained later about especially specifically about the ah, can anybody tell me if this is complete aham or should something happening?
It says ahama
Right. Great. Because why? Can you tell me why?
The
because the
M.
A was named after M.
Yes. So every consonant has a short ah with it, no?
Hmm.
So what do we have to do? We have to stop it. We call it, we put a stop here, which is called a virama. It's a diagonal like this. Now it says correctly, aham. You knew that already. That's nice. Um, Now we make maha, same thing. We practice all features by now. First, the M, vertical to the bottom, horizontal to the right. Vertical, it says ma. Now we do the H. Take it from the top, bit to the left, a bit down. We bring our cursor or a pen over here. And we make a nice rounding like this. I guess this is not so easy, but it doesn't matter. We're going to practice this a lot. I'm going to practice everything. uh, so it's not maha. It's not maha. It's maha. So we make it a vertical here. It's, now we can yoke it with the it's kind of yoga with the horizontal. Kind of a linguistic yoga, no? Putting the horizontal on top. We like to yoke things. Here we go down. I think now this is the last one. Maya, Maya, famous word. I defined it here as apparent potency in awareness, a, a power of in consciousness. So let's write Maya. Little vertical, half a vertical, we go up a bit here to the right. Vertical here. Vertical for A. And now we have a new letter. New letter. Ja. 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 We start up. We make a little shape like this. It's a concave shape. We put it up and we make a concave shape like this with a vertical. Here it says Maya. Maya. So we have to make Maya. We make a vertical here. Here it says Maya, and let's yoke. These funny, strange words. Nobody knows what is Maya, and still it's kind of operating. Not really operating, but kind of operating. But that's a great blessing. That's why we can play here and write letters, no? So let's see, where were we? This was the writing part. Now go to the alphabet. In the last sheet, which you will receive soon, I put these writing words with the typoscript of Devanagari. And Devanagari, the city of deities, the city of letter deities, um, looks like this in a look like this in an alphabetical setting. This is the alphabet sheet. I just put the letters we discussed today because else it's a bit overwhelming. But in all the colored cells, there will be letters. I think there will be something like 49 together. Here are the vowels, short vowels, long vowels. This block is consonants. There are 25. Consonants make full contact, and they're grouped in 5 groups, divided in the way they're uttered. This row is uttered in the throat like ka. This is soft palate. This is hard palate or retroflex. All these Indian sounds like na, na, ta, da, sha will be here. We have teeth, tooth sounds, dental sounds will be here. And lips, labial sounds, ba, ma, which will be here. Then there is something called semivowels, which are defined by making little contact in the mouth. And these are ya, ra, la, va. Ra is not here yet, but we have ya, la, va. And the S sounds we discussed. Sha, sha, sa. Sha, sha, sa. They're a specific group in the alphabet. And the S sounds are little open, they call that, for specific reasons. The H, the ha, ha, in Sanskrit, or ha, has a special status. It's here because sometimes it belongs to the S sounds even, and sometimes it belongs to the semivowels, but it's for specific reasons. Maybe we will teach that later. So this is a way the alphabet is nowadays usually presented for conform a specific logic. If you study Panini, Panini was a famous Sanskrit scholar, but specifically a famous Sanskrit grammarian who made a huge body of mantras in which he expressed Sanskrit, the way Sanskrit was expressed at a certain time in the Brahman time. And he kind of froze it in all kinds of rules. So he saw how people spoke Sanskrit and he made grammar rules. There's also a myth, I will tell it later, a myth about Panini, really nice myth. Panini and Shiva, etc. But if you have the alphabet of Panini, traditionally you get another setting, but then you should also learn Panini, which is really difficult. But I think I will do a Panini lesson once. For now, this is a common way of presenting the alphabet, and there's many system here. That's so nice of the Sanskrit alphabet. There are many reasons why it's organized like this, and we're gonna see that later. Finally, I put the words of this lesson together in a list for your convenience. And you can either study them, memorize them, or read through a little bit. It depends on your own style. I'm not asking you to memorize everything. But if you like, I like to learn words. I also forget them, but I like to study because it's fun and it sharpens my memory. Sanskrit is a nice way of sharpening your memory, especially when we get a bit older, no? So here we are. Let me see. Oh, I have to stop sharing. Hello. So here we are again. Before I do the the mantra of fullness, Purnam, two remarks. I will send the sheet of this lesson on your email. It also will be on vedanta.nl in the Sanskrit section. And the video you also will find there in the Sanskrit section of vedanta.nl. The website is placed in an English format and in a Dutch format. You can press the little English button on your right top corner for English, and the English video will be there. I hope later this day. Um, so let's close. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Let me see.